Are collectors misunderstood? People don't always get us. They see shelves full of toys and they think that we're stuck in the past, that we're wasting money or avoiding real life. But collecting isn't about any of that. Collecting is actually about connection. And if you've ever had to explain to somebody why it is that you collect and they just don't get it, then you know exactly what it feels like to be misunderstood. This video was for us, for the ones that remember and display with care, because we're not hoarders and we're not children. We're collectors. And what I want to do today is talk about what people get wrong about collecting and what the truth really is. Stick around. Aren't you too old for that? We've all heard it. Aren't you too old for that? As if growing up means that you have to let go of everything that ever made you smile. But let's be honest, growing up isn't about outgrowing things. Growing up is about understanding them on a deeper level. As a kid, we might have loved the character because they looked cool, but as an adult, we understand the weight of that character's choices, their sacrifices, their stories. That Wolverine on your shelf, as a kid, he was just mostly claws and attitude, but now he's about resilience, pain, loneliness, loyalty. That figure becomes a reminder, not of us being childish, but of us being human. When I see Wolverine, I kind of want to live vicariously through him. How many of us would love to handle our day-to-day problems the way Wolverine would handle them? When your boss pops in your office and he just slams more work on your desk, or that exact moment when a traffic cop is sliding a ticket right under your windshield. You can't tell me that right then and there, you don't feel like just popping your claws and taking homie's head off. We all go through that, but now as an adult, you can start to piece those things together. As an adult, you can tell when the Cyclops in you was talking, and you can tell when the Wolverine in you wants to take over. So no, I don't think I could ever be too old for that, when it took for me to be this old in the first place to even properly understand it. Now here's another thing. A lot of these so-called grown-up hobbies, they're not really so grown up themselves. Some people are out there obsessing over cars that they're never gonna drive, paying for notes that they really can't afford to impress people who couldn't care less about them in the first place. That doesn't really sound too mature to me. I see people obsessing over sports teams, spending thousands of dollars on tickets, painting their faces, tailgating all day, but they call us childish? I'm not dressing up like Wolverine. Fantasy football leagues ain't doing too good neither. I don't really have time to be arguing about fake trades. I've seen a lot of friendships stop because of how mature that hobby is. But all of those hobbies are accepted because they're familiar. They saw somebody else doing it, and now they don't got a problem playing copycat. Collecting still makes people uncomfortable because it's physical, it's visible, it's proud. And most of all, we came to this decision on our own. We feel comfortable in our own skin, regardless of what anybody else says. That's not something you can just go out and buy. That's priceless right there. And that's something that a lot of people in a lot of other hobbies, in a lot of other professions wish that they had. We don't hide our interests. We display them. And maybe that's why some people don't get it. We're too busy trying to stand out, so we really don't have too much time to try to blend in. We're showing the parts of ourselves that most adults are being told to bury. So no, we're not too old. We're just open about what it is that we love. Collectors connect differently. Most hobbies bring people together through competition. Basketball, boxing, gaming, there's always a winner and there's always a loser. Even if you and your mans start off on equal footing, once one of y'all develop that AI crossover or one of y'all get that Steph Curry 3, it's game over. The pecking order has been established, and for the rest of your life, homie's gonna talk smack. You're never gonna live it down. For the rest of your life, homie's gonna be like, yo, shut up before I'm banging on you. Even hobbies that don't really seem competitive can really end up being that way. How fast can you build it? How many did you catch? How much did you spend? But collecting is different. We meet another collector and something happens. Our guard drops. There's no ego, there's no scoreboard, there's no need to really prove anything. It's just, which Spider-Man do you have? Or are you still trying to get that Hulk? And right then and there, you're in a full-blown conversation. No tension, just conversation. Perfect example. I was just a guest on Just Justin Collects live stream about 3 Saturdays ago. And if you haven't had the opportunity or the time to check him out, please do yourself a favor and go do that. That's my guy right there. But for those of you who didn't get a chance to check that out, Check this out. Justin runs that live stream with 3 other co-hosts. And on the day of the stream, Justin has crazy weather. His Wi-Fi was out and he couldn't get on for like 2 hours. To be clear, me and his other 3 co-hosts up to that time had never shared not even one word of dialogue. It was all really just me and Justin. But you would never know it. From the second we started talking, it was all toys, collecting, YouTube. It never once felt like strangers were meeting. If anything, it kind of felt like we was just catching up. For the rest of my life, I will forever remember that moment as my first ever YouTube live stream. Also, as a great first experience, and last but not least, I will always remember the moment when I saw the most epic Clark Kent figure that I've ever seen in my life. So shout out to your boys got toys, because he put me on to that Clark Kent figure, and if you haven't seen the stream, go and check it out. He definitely put me on to a figure that I never even knew existed, but I feel like I should have always had it in my collection. Collectors connect differently. We bond through appreciation, not comparison. We share pre-order links. We help each other find figures. We swap, we trade. We even give things away because we know what it feels like deep down inside to miss out. We've all been there. In a lot of other hobbies, someone else's win feels like your loss. But in collecting, another collector finally getting their grail doesn't make you feel left out. It actually makes you feel hopeful. If he found it, maybe I will too. It's not about being the first, and it's not about having the most. It's about being a part of something bigger, a community where your joy makes my joy stronger. We don't gatekeep, we guide, we invite, because this isn't a race. It's a shared passion. And that makes collecting not just a hobby, but one of the few places left where people can connect without judgment, ego, or competition. But connection is only one side. The other side is responsibility, because being a collector isn't just about fun and friendships. It's also about managing your hobby. Like an adult, collecting teaches responsibility. A lot of people think that collecting is just a money pit. They see shelves full of figures and they just assume that we're reckless spenders, like we're just throwing money at nostalgia with no regard for the future. But if you're actually in this hobby and you're a collector, then you know the truth. And you know that we have to be even more responsible than people in other hobbies. Collecting doesn't exist in a vacuum. We all have rent. We all have light. We all have gas. We all have food. We all have kids. And then we have pre-orders. And if we don't plan for all of that in advance, then we're going to burn out. Collecting has to be done right, or it's not going to be sustainable. Eventually, that credit card is going to hit its limit, and there's only so many times that you can reschedule your girl before you find out you have no girl. We have to be able to budget a year ahead sometimes, and we have to be strategic. Gameverse just dropped 6 box sets on us, and they all spread out like a week apart. And that's just for pre-orders. Just to be able to order them, we have to make a schedule. And then paying for them is something entirely different. At one shot, a lot of people liked almost everything they saw. 6 box sets starting at $60. They dropping starting on November 3rd, but you already know that's kind of cutting it close for the holiday season. In between announcement and delivery, we literally have the whole summer right in the middle. People want to go out and do things. That's going to cost money. We still have our regular responsibilities. And at the same time, the people that we live with want to make plans for the summer, and they putting us down for a whole bunch of stuff that we're not even thinking about right now. So now we got to make time and money for that. Most collectors I know, we paying for things in cash most of the time. We have the money put to the side, or we know how we're going to have the money put to the side by the time that figure's drop. A lot of collectors make sacrifices, and me myself, I've had no problem eating a cup of noodles for lunch because I knew what I really wanted at the end of the day. There's not too many hobbies like that. I've seen women buy 2 purses that could put a whole year's worth of our collecting to shame. I've seen dudes putting money into cars that they know are about to get repoed. A lot of people can't even tell you when their Netflix subscription is due. They got to wait until they get overdrafted. But as collectors, we really don't have that problem. Every once in a while, something might pass us, but for the most part, we're pretty meticulous with our budgeting. It's pretty hard for us to take someone else serious when in the back of our heads, we're looking at them and we're thinking to ourselves, you wish that you had the traits that I have. But these are traits that we worked on. Collecting turns you social. A lot of collectors, including myself, are really introverted by nature. We're quiet, reserved, we're comfortable in our own world. And collecting really fits that. It gives us our own little solo hobby, our own little personal escape. But something really surprising happens along the way. we start to turn outward. We start going online to look up reviews, and suddenly we're chatting in the comment section. We started off being embarrassed, but now we're having conversations in those same toy aisles. We started off just watching a live stream, and a lot of us now are on one. Collecting creates community, even for the most private people. It gives us a reason to speak. It gives us something to share. Collecting helps us to build confidence. We don't have to be the loudest one in the room, but when we find someone who likes the same stuff that we like, the walls just drop. It's more than just toys. It's about connection. It's about telling your story and listening to theirs. That's powerful. And for a lot of us, that right there is life-changing. Collecting might start off in a corner by yourself, but it rarely stays that way. The world still needs collectors. We're the keepers of culture. We're the reason that forgotten franchises get remembered. We're the ones who kept those old Kenner toys in the attics. The ones who knew about Spider-Man 2099 before the movies. We're the ones that knew a character mattered before the studios told the world that he mattered. We keep the stories alive, and we do it with our own two bare hands. We research, restore, resell, rehome. We're part fan, part historian. Without collectors, most of pop culture will be lost in a landfill. Why does that matter? Look around. Most people are scrolling and swiping, forgetting what they saw just 5 seconds later. But collectors, we hold on. We build relationships with things that we love. We pass them down. We tell stories that don't come with an algorithm. Collecting teaches patience, planning, and appreciation. We're not chasing trends. We're building timelines, living in a world obsessed with what's next. Collectors remind people to ask, what's worth keeping? The world needs passion. So the next time someone says they're just toys, or it's just plastic, or that stuff doesn't matter, remember, it's not just stuff. It's memory, meaning, art, identity. The world may not always appreciate collectors, but it still needs us. Because when the stories fade, we're the ones who pick it back up. And we're the ones who say, this mattered. And we make sure it always does. Until next time. Peace.